Hi, welcome to another tutorial on Ultimate Survival. In this video we're going to be adding UMA 2.5 into our project. Now back in episode 7 we added the UMA from GitHub. Now UMA's upgraded on the asset store to 2.5, we can use the official release. So if you haven't already seen it, pop over and watch episode 7, my tutorial series, and also watch episode 10, which is how to add these custom slots. We added a custom eye slot and we also integrated these glasses from Will B's long coat pack. It's available on the asset store. And I'm going to create a new project that will have Ultimate Survival and UMA 2.5 downloaded from the asset store, and I'm just going to copy over the objects, these trousers and these glasses from my previous project, but other than that it's going to be a fresh install. Okay, here we are in my fresh project, and I've got all my stuff folder with the icons and the UMA wardrobes, glasses and padded trousers that we had in the previous tutorial. Now if we pop over to not the UMA but the Ultimate Survival and into the scenes, let's load up the forest. Now that it's loaded, let's find our in-game GUI, pop into 2D mode, it's always a lot nicer. Then while we're here, let's look for UMA DCS, and you see this game object. Let's drop him in prefab into our scene. And here he is. Also, while we're at it, let's click on the UMA menu and find where they're hiding. UMA Global Library. Here it is. So give that a click. You'll see here the UMA Asset Indexer script. It says here drag indexable assets here. A great thing about UMA is that I can just grab my entire UMA folder that I have my custom props in, drag them in, and you'll see, so these numbers have now increased. That's all you have to do. You didn't have to worry about, like I did in the previous tutorial where I was adding them one by one. This is a lot easier. Now let's go and find our in-game GUI, canvas, windows, character, window, keep on digging, and then we've got this character here. Let's add an empty game object. I'm going to call him UMA. I'm just going to copy the transform and paste it in so that it just inherits the same values as the previous one did. I'm going to click add component, dynamic character avatar, and here he is. And let's set the race to human male DCS, and in advanced options we're going to choose animator, which will be the character preview. Okay, easy so far, and let's just turn off the old one. Save this. I'm going to create a folder, call this scenes. Let's save this scene. Let's just click play, see what happens. And we've got a naked UMA in our game. And that was it. I mean, you can turn off the tutorial now and go home because we've added UMA. But we want to be able to add pants and the glasses. So that's where things get a little bit more tricky, but not too tricky, so don't worry. Now since the last tutorial, I had a couple of ideas how to make things a little bit easier. Because if you remember, here in the window, where is it? The character, equipment pieces, we added in some extra variables, and we were adding the slot and the recipe here, which meant that every single item was also having empty slot and recipe variables. So it was a little bit messy. I didn't really like it too much. To make an easier way, so let's go to Tools, Ultimate Survival, Item Management. First thing, I'm just going to hop over to Property Editor. Let's add a string. I'm going to call this UMA slot. Put a space in there, UMA slot. And another string, I'm going to call this one UMA recipe. Okay. Let's pop over to the item editor again. And let's duplicate these wooden leggings just by clicking the plus. It'll automatically duplicate the last one that was there. And I'll call this one padded trousers. And I think we've still got the old padded trousers icon. Yep, here they are. Brilliant. And let's add UMA slot, and the log will be legs and UMA recipe. Now I need to remember what the recipe name of was. It was, where is it? Padded trousers, all one word, no space. But the display value is a space, but that's what we're looking for here, padded trousers. So in the recipe we're going to say padded trousers. Brilliant. And in the head, I'm not going to worry about adding a new eyes equipment slot. Just going to add here glasses. Do we have glasses icon? Are we that lucky? Yes, we are. Here they are, glasses. I remember those. They got those off Google. So let's do the same again. UMA slot. This time it's on the eyes. So don't worry that it says here head equipment, because UMA actually has a slot for the eyes, and the recipe is here. You can see it, glasses. Nice and simple. Okay. Now that's not all, because that would actually only do half the job. We still have to go to the character and increase this by 2. So that's 13. See here, wood chest plate. This is the old, look, I'm going to call him the legacy model. These are the items that he was wearing. Let's just leave that for now, otherwise it's going to kick up some errors. Let's call this one the padded trousers, which was all one. Oh, we put a space in. That's what we had in the item management. Let's just double check. Remember, always good to remember what you call things, otherwise you get a little bit lost later on. Yeah, padded trousers, and you could even just copy it. Select all, copy, and just paste them in here. Make sure it's the right spelling. Now the other one, with chest plate. The other thing is you don't actually have to close this item management window. You can interact with the editor behind it. It will still be there. So if you're doing lots of things, I would advise just to keep it open. And see, look, there you go. Okay, now if we went to our male player inventory controller, and let's just get rid of this wooden bow, replace it with the glasses, replace the pickaxe with padded trousers, and just quickly save. Now we should have these two things on inventory. There they are, but you don't actually see them when you wear them, but at least they're being worn. So we got the defense going up while we're wearing them. Don't worry about this error message. It's because I had a couple of duplicate slots in my folder, so just ignore that. So we've got quite far without having to do any code already. Well, that was it. Now we actually have to start delving in with some code. So this is the script that we want to edit. So give it a double click, load it in your favorite editor. I'll see you in a second. Hi, so here I am in the editor. The first thing I'm going to do is drop in the UMA and UMA character system, so we can take advantage of all the UMA stuff in our game. So this object, this is the old clothing object. I'm just going to want to keep that in there, but I'm going to call this header and call this legacy setting, or legacy clothes. That's a better name, legacy clothes. And this way, when we look in the editor, we can see that this slot is not actually needed for our UMA, but in case you wanted to still use the old model, you can do. Alright, so let's add a couple of public variables, but I don't want to see them, so hide in inspector. This is a great little thing here, which means that if I add a public string UMA slot, and let's do it again, public string UMA recipe, if I save this and we pop into Unity 3D, you won't see these public strings because we're hiding them in the inspector. And you'll also see this header above the old game object variable that says legacy clothes. Let's give it a go. Okay, so you can see here that we've got legacy clothes and we don't have the other two public variables. Kushti. Back inside our editor. Okay, we also want to add, oh hang on, this underwear. Let's do the same thing as we did at the top. Let's add a header, and let's call this one Legacy Global. Legacy settings, and then now we need to add a variable. We need to add a variable so that we can actually call our UMA avatar like we did in the last tutorial. So I'm just going to copy and paste, and here it is. Actually, oh, this is annoying me, this word wrap. Let's go to view, turn off word wrap, that's better. Okay, so we've got here our public dynamic character avatar, and this is the name we're going to call him, avatar. But actually, the thing that we're going to drop in from the inspector is on this one, the M avatar, and the one that we're going to use later on in our script is avatar, and he's basically returned the one that we've got from the inspector. A bit of extra safety we've got, and I've stuck here global UMA settings like we did global legacy settings. Okay, now this bit here, piece.object set active holder has item, basically this is using these old legacy clothes that we spoke about right at the top. So if we don't have anything in the slot in the variable, we're going to kick up an error. So if you remember at the start of the video, I mentioned how I just, for the test, I kept those other trousers in there so that we wouldn't get an error. And obviously these underpants here are going to be going hand in hand with these objects because these are the old non-UMA underpants. So let's put an if statement in there. Say if, and that there. So let's just indent that so it's nice. We're going to say if it has an object, and let's be extra safe, even though we've already set it here has item, let's just add it in there as well. So if it has the item, and if it actually has object, and actually we don't want to keep that in there, so we want to take that out because we want that. Okay, that's better. So if holder has item and that object has something in there, so it's not empty, then you can go ahead and start playing about with the old logic that we had before. So let's add just a little bit of notation here to say support for legacy model. Okay, now here UMA wear clothes. This is where we want to put our UMA scripts. Let's just put here take off clothes. Yep, get naked. That's the getting. We could actually and get naked. Yes, it's spelled intentionally. Yeah, now we want to add, like we had at the top, we had that if statement to say does he actually have this object. We want to do the same thing, so we're going to say if piece object, but unlike before, because we've only got one thing in here, we can just chuck it in underneath this if statement without having any curlies in. Right, let's get back to our UMA clothes, and let's put an if statement in again. Let's say holder has item, and well, let's check to say that our holder, if I could spell, current item has property UMA slot. This is the correct spelling that we had in the item management, not that public variable at the top. So you remember the spelling has to be exact, otherwise it won't be able to find the property. And holder current item has property UMA recipe. Right, now because we've double checked that it has the slot, it has the recipe, we can now start using them. We won't get any weird errors. So we want to add for our slot here UMA slot public variable is going to have the holder current item get property value, and it's these ones we spoke about just now. It's a string with a capital S, and again UMA recipe equals holder. Now this is why I don't like typing, and I always say just going to pause it and I'll just paste it in, so next time I'm just going to do that. You won't see all of my weird spelling errors. Recipe. So we've got now the slot public variable has the whatever we had in the item management UMA slot, and the UMA public variable, UMA recipe public variable has whatever we had in the UMA recipe up in the item management. Okay, now we can actually add the close. So set slot piece UMA slot comma piece UMA recipe. So this is wearing our recipe on the slot we defined. Avatar build character and avatar force update, so it refreshes everything. False, true, true, which is what we had in the video back in episode 7. Alright, so let's save that. We're already checking to make sure that this item of clothing has a slot and a recipe in the item management. When it finds it, we're going to make use of it, putting it in these two public variables, and then we're going to wear them. Set slot, this slot and this recipe, build the character, force the update. Lovely. And if you take off the close, we just got this extra bit of checking to make sure that it's checking to see that the old object actually has a value before you try to remove it. We can see that we've got here the global UMA settings, and we need to drag in our UMA. Lovely. Click play. Hang on. Now that we've got these, we can actually remove these objects that we don't need because they're the legacy clothes. We just had them in so we wouldn't have a previous error. Now let's see if our error handling works. Okay, put the glasses on, put our trousers on. Wonderful. And if we remove them, nothing actually happens because we haven't added that script in yet, but we're getting there. Put back into the editor. Okay, down the bottom here is we'll be taking off our clothes. Remember here, take off clothes and get naked? Well, now we want to add take off our UMA clothes. And we're only interested if the item of clothing that we had in item management has an UMA slot, because that's what we'll be clearing. So let's do our if piece UMA slot does not equal null, and piece UMA slot length is greater than 0. Just double bit of extra error handling there to say that our public variable isn't null and actually it's got something. Let's grab this from up here. Let's change set slot to clear slot. All we need in a clear slot is the UMA slot. Okay, let's save that. Pop into Unity, click play. Let's see if we can wear and take off clothes. Now, taking off my trousers, taking off my glasses. Okay, let's put them on and take them off in different order. So, put on trousers, put on glasses, take off trousers first. Nice. Take off glasses. Wonderful. Now, doesn't matter what order you're putting them on and taking them off, the right things get taken off. And that is it. That's how to add UMA into our Ultimate Survival, and this is UMA2.5, not from GitHub. So it was really straightforward. I think even more straightforward than it was last time. So have it a go, have a go yourself, have a play, and remember guys, if you like it, click it. See you next time. If you want to see more on the Ultimate Survival series, click on the links on the left side of your screen. And if you like these videos and you want to see more of them, please click subscribe. isn't that big button that's down below. And there's next to it, there's a little magic bell. And when you click that bell, it tells you when there's a new video out. So cheers, thanks for all the support.